Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. As I said in my last video, I'm taking a look at the 3 Marvel Legends figures that I've picked up in the new Spider-Man Retro Card Wave. And the next figure that I'm going to be comparing in a Which Is Better style review is Tombstone. We're going to take a look at this brand new Tombstone in that nice suited body, and we're going to compare it to the Spider-Man Homecoming Tombstone that came out way back. Obviously when Homecoming was released. So let's check out these two figures and see if we can't determine which one's better.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So this is indeed a Which Is Better when we are looking at two Tombstone figures. And as always, my first round is about the paint and overall appearance of these figures. And honestly, both of these figures look pretty good. For what they were and what we're getting, I think they both look really neat. You know, if I look at our Homecoming Wave Tombstone first, there is some very nice kind of color change. Let me get him in focus here. Between the hair and the face, like there's even like a light wash on here that you can kind of see. He has a nice toothy grin, eyes are painted nice, and the nostrils are very flared and, you know, just almost sinister looking. This is a Tombstone that looks like he is up to no good, but otherwise, the rest of the figure is kind of boring. I mean, even the studs on the belt, just to kind of point them out, there is a color differentiation on there, but not much of one. In fact, it's only really looking this good because it's under the light. The belt buckle you'd be able to see, but the bumps, you probably really wouldn't be able to tell unless, you were under a good light like I am now. But otherwise, the rest of this figure is kind of little, just, he's just in black. Even the straps, like these aren't keyed in, they are loose on the figure. Same with the cuffs on the wrist. There is nice detail, like you can see the belt buckle detail on the wrist, so that's good. But yeah, aside from the face, that's really the only thing that stands out on this figure. My new Tombstone, which is on the vintage card, actually looks quite nice. The skin tone is lighter than the Homecoming Wave. I do want to point that out. But, the cuffs of the jacket, like you see the shirt that he's wearing underneath, and you can tell that there are black pinstripes on there. He's got the pocket square. Tie looks different. It looks neatly, tucked in there. He's got the collar, also pinstripes on there. The face, again, like just kind of a smirk, and there are 2 head sculpts. I'll talk about the other one later on, but looks really nice. Not as much of a wash on the hair, but it is still there. Moving down, it is just, black pants, but the shoes are indeed a different color. They are shined, as you would expect them to be, and they are, there are nice shoelace details in there. So there's that. Honestly, there's not a ton of extra things going on these figures, but I do want to bring in the extra head sculpt real quick for Tombstone. And you can see, like, it is, like, his gums are painted nicely. He's got the toothy kind of snarl. The nose isn't as, like, it almost looks like it's, like, flared out like a pig's nostrils or something on the old one. Whereas my vintage card one has more of a human nose. I don't really know what to say there. But keeping all this in mind, I think the paintwork, the overall detail, I'm going to give to our vintage card, the one in the suit here, just because I think this actually looks a little more sharp, a little more striking compared to our Homecoming version. And my second round is about the articulation of these figures. And looking at the Homecoming Wave version first, he has articulation like you would expect. Ball joint at the neck that goes up and down. Doesn't go back very far because of this popped collar, but of course the head moves side to side. You get a little wiggle and woggle in there. Nice chest articulation, at the diaphragm there. It goes up and down. Whole body turns, and the belt is below so it doesn't get in the way. Of course, the arms go all the way around like you would expect them to. They go out like that. Rotation up here at the biceps, and double jointed elbows. Of course, you can see the pegs, but pinless doesn't add to articulation. I do need to say that. In some recent videos, people have been saying, how can you say articulation's better when it's pinless or not pinless? Like, it doesn't add to the articulation necessarily. But anyway, the wrist, of course, will rotate and can flex as well. Moving down to the legs, legs kick out about that far, and kick out not very far, but about there. That's what I'm getting for split wise. At the thighs, we do have rotation, double jointed knee. We do have the calf rotation down here. Foot goes up and down, and we do have ankle pivot as well, which you can see here. So pretty much your standard Marvel Legends articulation, what you would expect. So yeah, not very restrictive in any of his movements. Our new one, however, if I pull him forward, so his head is on. I'm going to pop it out real quick so you can see it. His head is on this type of ball joint, which I don't know what they call it. It's one piece. It's molded onto the neck, so you just have a hole there. But because of that, once you pop it back in, there is some movement, but I feel like it's a little restrictive. Like if I try to have him bend, like look down, the head kind of pops out. So the head's a little bit taken back. In terms of the body, he's on this, I want to say, inverted ball joint waist. So like he can turn. The jacket really kind of gets in the way a little bit. But in terms of up and down, like ab crunch, I'm having trouble getting him to really pose much here in the body. In terms of the arms, of course, just like the other one, all the way around, out that far. Rotation up here at the bicep, double jointed elbows, hands that rotate, and also, flex at the leg. Even with the suit jacket, they go up about this far, and they go out a little further than our old one, so he can get a decent split in there. Of course, thigh rotation and double jointed knee. As I said, pinless, but pinless doesn't add to articulation. And then the foot, nothing else down here at the calf, but the foot, it does bend, but the leg, pant leg kind of gets in the way. We do have rocker on the ankles as well. So really looking at these two, the better articulated one is going to go to our Homecoming Wave version. Probably more of the one that you would put into like a fight, maybe needed more of the articulation, whereas the new one in that suit, maybe he's not going to get his hands quite as dirty as our other version. So yeah, round 2 goes to my Homecoming version. Round 3 is about the accessories, and this Tombstone from the Homecoming Wave, aside from coming with the Build-A-Figure piece, came with no other accessories. So what you see is what you get. He's a little plain Jane, but it's still like a beefy looking character. And before you say like, oh, well, what accessories could you possibly give him? They kind of cover that in the new one. So let's move him back. Our new one, he does come with this crowbar that he's been holding on to this whole time. It fits well in his hand. The hand is a trigger hand, so it fits well, but it does look like he's going to be pulling the trigger for something. He also has, as you can kind of already tell, he does have different hand options. So there is both a left and a right fist. Here's the other fist, and there is an open hand as well for the left hand. Whichever one you want to use works. I do like him holding the right hand that is currently holding the crowbar is the only one that you can grasp anything with. So I kind of like the crowbar hand. It does have enough of a menace to him where, if he wanted to kind of show that he still meant business rather than have like an enforcer do his work, it shows with that crowbar. His hands and the crowbar aren't the only thing. As you saw before, there is a secondary head. Definitely kind of a, like snarling face, attacking face, almost like a, ooh, what kind of face? But looks good. But thinking about that, because, the other hand just fell. Thinking about all this, because my first version, the Homecoming version, didn't come with a single accessory, the new vintage card Tombstone is going to win by default my third round of the accessories. Round 4 is about the price and availability of these figures, and quite honestly, the Homecoming Wave Tombstone never seemed to skyrocket much in value. I've been seeing him go online for anywhere between $16 to $20 plus shipping, so less than your standard Marvel Legends figure. I want to say when he came out, they cost $20. So $16 to $20 plus shipping, depending where you find him. If you can find him new, maybe you're going to pay less, more, but the average seems to be between $16 and $20. And my new one, $25. You can get him in stores now. He's available online. I don't think his pre-orders sold out. And this is kind of a tricky spot to look at because as of this video, I'm recording in March of 2024, he's probably, my vintage card wave is probably going to be the easier one to find because you can get him in a store. You know, you can order him online, and probably, you know, if you have enough services where you can get free to, you know, low shipping, he might be the easier one to get. Like, honestly, this one, it seems like you're only going to find him on things like eBay, Facebook. Probably going to have to pay for shipping depending on that. So that might drive his cost up. Yeah, he might be a little lower at the end of the day, but honestly, he's not going to be as easy to find as my vintage card wave Tombstone. So I'm going to give our new one from the vintage card wave the win for round 4 for price and availability. Finally, we are on the 5th round, the display compatibility round. And honestly, both of these guys are going to work as Tombstone and display. I think it's more of a question of what kind of Tombstone do you want in your display. You know, when I was a kid and I was buying Marvel Legends or Marvel trading cards, one of the first waves of cards that I bought had a Tombstone card in it. And Tombstone was wearing a suit in it. And from that day on, even though I know that he has kind of, you know, gotten his hands dirty at stuff, I always wanted a figure of Tombstone in a suit. You know, back in the early Toy Biz days of Spider-Man figures from the animated series, there was the Tombstone, which looked like he came out of the animation, where he was wearing like just a black shirt and pants, and it still didn't satisfy what I was hoping for. So I've always really wanted Tombstone in a suit. You know, when the Homecoming Wave version came out, I was happy just to finally have a Marvel Legends Tombstone. I gotta be honest, this isn't my favorite look for him. You know, this is more, to me, like when he's kind of like a goon for hire, moving his way up in the crime world. I definitely like crime boss Tombstone, and that really is what's making my decision here. And this is going to be entirely up to you. Which version of Tombstone do you want? Do you want the, you know, nicely dressed crime boss Tombstone, or do you want the one who's willing to get his hands dirty and go fight Spider-Man on the rooftop late at night? For me, it is the crime boss one. The other thing I have to say, too, is this one looks very intimidating. He's honestly, if I stand him kind of back to back, he's just a little bigger than my Homecoming one. And not that it is that much of a difference, but there's enough there and in the suit where, like, he just kind of looks a little more intimidating than than the Homecoming one. So I'm going to give round 5 to our suited, bodied, vintage retro card wave Tombstone. So there we have it, throwing the other one into the arcade cabinet and hitting him with his crowbar. Our new vintage card wave Tombstone is going to take home the gold on this version of Which Is Better. Honestly, like I said, this was the Tombstone I've been waiting for. This is the one I'm very happy that we've gotten, and one that I plan on keeping on my display for quite a while. He's going to kind of stand with other crime bosses. I have a shelf with like Kingpin and, you know, like Bullseye. Well, Bullseye's not a crime boss, but like street crime level characters, Hammerhead's on there. So this is going to be where he's going to be displayed, and he is the one I am happy to have shown off in my collection. Not that the other one's bad, but if I could only have one, it's definitely going to be this one. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you have a preferred Tombstone figure? Do you have one that you're going to be keeping over the other? I'd love to hear it. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.